What's up everybody, welcome to Money Management channel. My name is Andy and today I'm gonna be doing an update on MMTLP and FINRA saga.
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up on.
And for today's video, guys, I have a set of very interesting news. First of all, I will show you a nothing burger that that I discovered just recently, and I will explain in details why you shouldn't rely on this so-called improvement of our case. Then I will continue with the real news. I will show you an update in regards to the most recent subpoenas that were filed by George Polycoros, and I will show you some comments from the person who knows a lot about these type of documents. On top of that, guys, I will show you extremely interesting update of the most recent filings that we have in regards to the lawsuits that were filed basically at the end of 2024. And if I have enough time, I will show you another due diligence that was made by one of our community members. So, and before we dive deep into all of this, guys, please hit the like button for YouTube algorithm. And probably you know that I'm a trader. And if you want to enhance your trading skills, if you want to know more about technical analysis, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel and to join my Patreon account, where for the $35 a month you will be able to drastically enhance your trading skills. On top of that, guys, for now I added the gold tier for limited 10 vacant places, and the only difference in between these two tiers is this one. Discord access member will have all the data for the potential trades, for the potential tickers that you should be aware of, but the gold tier members will have the exact setups with the stop loss and take profit orders. They will have the exact notifications when and how they should trade certain asset. On top of that, for each and every member, I will do a weekly 30 minutes Zoom calls in order to answer their question and in order to teach them how to properly use technical analysis and how to be successful trader. That is why, guys, for some of you this might be a game changer opportunity, and if you want to drastically enhance your trading skills, feel free to invest in yourself. And here you can see the most recent updates that I made for my Patreon members. As you can see, I have Zoom meeting, 30 minutes Zoom calls for my gold member tiers. On top of that, guys, I explained a lot in my tutorials video. On top of that, guys, I made daily updates on the current status of the market. I show to my Patreons crucial news that can impact the markets in general. On top of that, guys, as you can see, I made a lot of videos that is related to different ticker symbols like SPY, QQQ, TQQQ, Cocoa, Palantir, RKLB, HIMS, Wix. Previously, guys, I made a video on Disney. Here you can see general market update. And guys, even during the crashes, I explained to my Patreons what crucial levels this asset might hit in order to, for example, close the gaps. As you can see, on Monday, Tesla was at $227. The lowest point was right here at $225. But I told to my Patreons that it has to move even lower, about 4%, in order to close the gap. And it was the price point of $217.07. And guys, take a look right here. I told to my Patreons about 4% more to the downside. And when Tesla hits 217, it doesn't mean it has to go to the upside immediately. And guys, take a look right here. Let's switch to hourly time frame. And here you can find the most recent, the lowest candle, I would say, that hit, as you can see, $215. You can find it under the letter L, $215. And then, since this trend reversal happened, it is up by 14.06%. This means, guys, you can rely on my technical analysis as a part of your due diligence. So, and let's begin today's video with this tweet. Just a couple of days ago, Ali from Trading Secrets wrote this tweet, and he was very excited about this. John Cena followed him, and I made a video basically I guess a couple of days ago or even yesterday And I was thinking that potentially he or his closest circle of friends and family were MMTLP shareholders. But guys, it is not the case. Unfortunately, it is just nothing burger. Let me show you that John Cena followed a lot of people. As you can see, Due Diligence Road, he follows me too, and Murdoch, he follows close to 1 million people. And on this screenshot you can see, basically this screenshot was made just 2 days ago. And right here, as you can see, he follows 976,000 people. And let me show you that just next tweet, and already he added about 1,800 people in this list. And here is his actual number, 976,500 people who are in his following list. And guys, it is just a nothing burger. He explained it. Wait a second, somewhere here you can find John Cena follows me on Twitter, and it is quite it is quite popular request. And here you can find why he does it. And it is not related to MMTLP case at all, unfortunately. So let's continue with this news. On March 11, Golden Tickets wrote this tweet, and he basically he mentioned about the most recent subpoenas that were filed in the MMAT bankruptcy case, and these subpoenas might lead to very interesting discoveries in MMTLP case. And let me show you a quite interesting question. Bradley Tate wrote this: Mark Basile, can you kindly give us some clarity on this issue? Do we have a reasonable expectation that the DTCC will comply? And Mark responded, I think they will likely move to quash the subpoena or limit its scope. FINRA may invoke immunity, and that includes discovery, but the brokers are susceptible to discovery, like the Sorrento case. I expect a fight. However, if they have nothing to hide, it would behoove them to turn everything over for full disclosure to the Chapter 7 trustee and the court. And yes, guys, I think even these preliminary actions might give us at least a sneak peek on the real things behind the curtains. Because if they will disclose everything, in this case, they are basically they are not guilty in this extremely complicated saga. But if they will try to hide some information, and if they will try to basically make some unexpected moves, definitely it might lead us to the conclusion that something is wrong with these broker-dealers as well. So let me show you another quite interesting set of tweets. You know that just recently Pulte became a director of one of the agencies, and we know that Pulte had an experience with MMTLP case, and definitely he knows a lot about our case, and a lot of people might think that he can help us to push our case forward. And to be honest, I also think so. And definitely we don't have bad publicity. As I already mentioned, we have to be polite and very professional. And Amy, in response to this basically confirmation, wrote this: why would the community for stock delisted 820 days ago be so excited for someone getting a housing financial service job? Is that they think they got an inside guy that can help resurrect that stock and make them millions of dollars. And guys, take a look right here. Charles Gasparina, famous, so-called famous Charles Gasparina, wrote this: trust me, because I know a lot about this. The last thing Pulte will do in his new job is pushing BBBY and MMTLP conspiracy theories. He has his hands full figuring out next steps for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, which seem ripe for privatization, but it is going to be a tremendous lift. If it wasn't Mark Calabria and Steve Munich would have done it during Trump won. So, and guys, I have to admit that it is quite interesting, but these people who are trying to push our case down, they answer questions very, they basically cherry picking. the necessary questions in order to answer it, and they don't try to answer on a tricky questions. And let me show you this tricky question that was asked by 100 mph. 100 mph wrote, could you explain how a perpetual bond was issued on a preferred A dividend before MMTLP was listed on OTC Pink? Could you explain who paid for the listing of preferred A dividend on OTC Pink? Could you explain how MMTLP was cleared in Pershing accounts and fractionalized by Apex on the OTC ATS gateway after it was listed on the OTC Pink market? Because collusion of institutional technology, big law, social media and regulatory capture doesn't have anything to do with conspiracy, right? And guys, he refers to his own tweets that I basically covered yesterday, where he showed us that it was another issue with the OTC Pink market and how these perpetual bonds was issued. And unfortunately, as far as I understand, it is another loophole that was created intentionally by the authorities, and they are the path how they can rob the entire retail shareholders, retail investors, and literally no one wants to solve this problem. So it is what it is, but let's move forward. We have an update. Let me show you. Just recently showed you that potentially we missed the deadline, but it is not the case. Fortunately, it is not the case. And here is the court listener website and Spears versus Securities and Exchange Commission case. And we have the most recent updates that was made on March 14th, and it is an amended complaint, second amended complaint against all parties amending, filed by Danielle D. Spears. And here is the recap of this document that was made by Roman Soups. And guys, I know that Roman Soups is quite controversial person, but he is free to do anything that he wants if it is staying in line with the laws. And I have to admit that he is the only person who is trying to make a recap of these lawsuits. And this is quite interesting in my opinion. So he wrote this second amended complaint by Danielle Spears, 88 pages. Defendants, and we know who defendants are: Next Breach, George McCabe, John Burda, SEC, FINRA, Jane Doe 1-20, and John Doe 1-20. And here is quite interesting update. He mentioned and he basically pointed to the defendants, and it is quite interesting, but let me quote to this. Defendant Next Bridge Hydrocarbons was formed as a part of a corporate spin-off from Metamaterials. NBH is an independent, non-trading, public reporting, private oil and gas exploration and development company. Defendant company is liable for the wrongful acts of its executives, including Burda and McCabe, under principles of agency and responded superior, as these individuals acted within the scope of their authority and executive roles at all relevant times. NBH, so it is not related to our case right now. And here is background of Greg McCabe and background of John Burda and background of SEC and FINRA in these cases. Let me quote to these one by one. So, defendant Greg McCabe also served as a director, contributing to governance responsibilities prior to becoming chairman of the board. McCabe is the director and former owner of McCabe Petroleum Corporation, Hudspeth Oil Corporation, and previously held a variety of positions at Torchlight Energy Resources, such as chairman of the board of directors, investor, and advocate for Orogrande project and strategic advisors. And guys, I have to admit that all these roles of Greg McCabe already might be quite suspicious in terms of the potential conflict of interests. But let me quote you further. So, background of John Burda. Former CEO of TRCH, as well as other roles within the company, such as president and director. He was the founder of its predecessor, Torchlight Energy, following the reverse takeover between TRCH and Metamaterials. Burda would serve as a paid consultant for newly renamed Metamaterials. In his consulting role, he was expected that he would continue to develop and sell the oil and gas assets that MMAT2 inherited in the RTO. And let me show you further. Background of SEC. Securities and Exchange Commission is statutorily obligated under Securities and Exchange Act of 1934 to regulate and prevent market manipulation. Their core mission is to protect investors, maintain fairly and orderly and efficient markets, and facilitate capital formation. And guys, I have to admit that even the definitions of SEC and FINRA leads to the conclusion that they don't do their job properly. And here is quite interesting part. On page 3, she mentioned about John Doe's and Jane Doe's. She, I mean Danielle Spears. And here is the direct speech. Carried out specific functions as part of the broader manipulation scheme. Plaintiff anticipates that discovery will uncover the identities of these individuals and their roles within the manipulation scheme. On top of that, the plaintiff was further harmed by listening to those she now believes were undisclosed paid social media stock promoters and influencers. And guys, you know that I'm also a YouTuber, and to be honest, on a regular basis I receive a lot of emails from let's say shady companies who wanted me to make who wanted me to make a technical analysis on their assets, and they definitely want me to say that this asset will go to the upside. But guys, from the technical standpoint, I clearly see that these companies is just nothing burgers, and definitely I refuse to make any videos on these stocks. But believe me, I receive these letters quite often, and unfortunately, later on I see that some YouTubers are promoting these stocks, and definitely, guys, it is not the best choice, and I have to admit that the remuneration for these so-called promotions is not so high if you compare it, if you are a trader, if you successfully trade certain stocks and assets, it is close to nothing to put your entire YouTube channel under these risks for just a couple of thousands of dollars that you can easily trade within just 1 or 2 successful trades. So let me show you more. Page number 7, crucial witnesses and defendants such as geologist Masterson, former CEO Clifton Dubois, former CFO Roger Wurtley, and defendant McCabe reside and operate businesses in Texas, significantly facilitating discovery, testimony, and efficient litigations. Page 7, item 17. Plaintiff asserts the corporate entities TRCH and NBH bear liability for securities fraud and related misconduct committed by their executives or agents under the doctrine of respondent superior. Page 7, item 18. Plaintiff asserts McCabe as a senior executive and substantial shareholder had a fiduciary duty to shareholders to disclose known fraudulent activities. Page 8, section 18. Plaintiff alleges defendants Burda and McCabe deliberately engage in practices intended to trigger short squeezes, manipulate securities markets, and artificially inflate share prices. Page 8, sections 19 to 20. Some background on John Burda talks about STL Capital Management LLC and American Pallet Leasing. And here's quite interesting parts, guys. Let me show you. Plaintiff alleges that in July 2004, John Burda, while employed by STL Capital Management, breached his fiduciary duty and embezzled corporate opportunities. Specifically, Burda improperly delivered the acquisition of Limelight Media Group, acquiring 500,000 shares intended for STL Capital Management. Following litigation, the court found Burda liable for breach of fiduciary duty and ordered him to return 425,000 embezzled shares of LMG stock and pay associated monetary damages and attorney's fees. And guys, it is not the end. I have to admit that you can read a lot of updates. For example, the next one, page 9 and sections 25 to 27, talks about Roger Wurtley, current CFO of NextBridge Hydrocarbons, and his time as CFO of EENT, Energy and Engine Technology Corporation, a judgment related to a project and his appointment to TRCH. And here you can see that the CFO of Next Bridge Hydrocarbons formerly worked for EENT, and he received a cease and desist order from the SEC for issuing unregistered shares as payment to stock promoters, actions which artificially inflated EENT's stock price by approximately 68%. Plaintiff asserts that these actions clearly violated federal securities laws prohibiting the distribution of unregistered securities and market manipulation, supported by precedents including SEC versus Sierra Brokerage Source, and holding companies and their executives liable for issuing unregistered securities and artificially inflating share prices. So guys, I have to admit that pretty much all of the defendants have quite long story, quite long personal stories. And that is why, guys, I think, well, the investigation and the, I would say, the exposure of these people might be not so pleasant for a lot of shareholders, but believe me, as I already mentioned, we cannot have a partial justice. Justice should prevail, and we have to see who is standing behind the scenes and who was basically who made this happen. And guys, let me tell you my personal story. I have a wife and 2 children aged 11 and 15, as well as a small dog. After 30 years of living in Russia near the Baikal Lake, we decided to move. Now we reside in Serbia. Although I don't own any MMTLP shares, I invest a lot of time creating daily MMTLP videos. I have been doing this every day without days off and holidays for more than 1.5 years. Now I wish to buy back this time from my family, from my children. We've agreed that I will ask the MMTLP community to support me, and I will give all the money to the children. Therefore, if you believe that I am providing useful content for you and wish to support me, you can join my Patreon account. For $5 a month, I will add your name to my list of supporters if you wish. Thank you in advance. The link you can find in the description below. So, I think that's all information that I want to provide you. If you like my video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, and see you guys and girls next time. Bye!
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gone live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life, I'm crazy, I'm mad. Doing no